Unless your name is Jesus. Jesus works hard, oh fuck yeah. Do you work hard? Probably not. Unless your name is Jesus.
That's pretty foul.
But is it not right?
yeah. Definitely, it's right.
From what you
Wow.
tell me, from the stories that you tell me about the people that you have working under you.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. You generally have nice things to say about most of the people that work on the production line here at Cardas Audio. Is that not true?
Yes, they are good people.
All right.
Welcome, Jesus.
Hello.
Okay, so people who are familiar with soldering with Jesus, I was going to say people who are familiar with Jesus might recognize him from a soldering series that we should probably record another episode of called
Soldering with Jesus.
And it features the gentleman who's joining us here, Jesus Ornelas.
Well, I mean, we weren't going to use Jesus in any more videos. We had pretty much drawn a hard line and said we're not doing videos with him anymore.
Because of the negative responses we've had.
Fuck.
Don't you have somebody else?
But then we brought him to Expona, and he was like a freaking celebrity.
Right.
It was like nonstop. Oh, there's Jesus. I know him from the soldering videos. Can I take my picture with you? He was like way more famous than either of
A
us.
person told me that everything he knows about soldering he learned from Jesus.
I know. So
And it
now-
was right in front of Jesus, and it kind of felt like paid for. Like Jesus said, oh, there's the guy. That $5 I gave you, there's the guy you need to say that thing to. That's what it seemed like.
So it has been determined that Jesus is the most famous person at Cardas Audio, so we got to keep making videos.
Right. Now, tell us about, for people who weren't at Expona, which is in Schaumburg, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. Jesus, tell us, what were you and Jason doing at the show?
We were just doing some soldering. If they bought some cable from
Upscale?
Upscale.
That was the booth right next to ours.
Yeah,
doing
they would
headphones.
ask us to make one, and we would whip it out real quick.
And people
That's
were
not bad.
able to see kind of the process of how cables are made here at Cardas Audio.
And you had people just standing there watching for like a long time.
Yeah, it was crazy. A little nervous and
You
scary.
guys kind
but
of made a crowd.
it was,
OSHA never once came in and tried to stop it.
no, it
Hot
was
solder pot and everything.
fumes.
That was my number
Fumes. Well, we had a kind of a cool thing that I didn't even know existed. It's one of those things where, leading up to doing the thing at Expona with them soldering, we were like, well, what are we going to do about the solder fumes? And you think to yourself these days, like, you can't invent anything. Everything has already been invented. So I thought to myself, certainly there's a portable fume sucker. And of one there is. And then
Is that what you Googled?
Probably. And then you fall down the rabbit hole of that thing, start watching YouTube reviews.
Make sure Safe Surf
And-
was turned on.
Yeah, and it's like, do you have to search, fume sucker. Do you have to spend $100? Do you have to spend $400? We kind of found a good one for, I think $80 is where they start getting
That was
good.
the sweet spot.
And that's basically, I think, roughly what we spend on. And then you Jesus, you built some extra ducting for it.
Yeah, we modified it so it was like really easy to work with.
Yeah. So it was kind of a cool thing. We got some great feedback, so maybe we'll do it again at a trade show near you where you can come watch Cardas terminate. Now, the reason we're having you on right now to talk about here on Cardas Audio is, in addition to being a Terminator, you also are probably one of the guys who's been here the longest.
So I went to Bandon Brewing yesterday, and the woman behind the counter says, "Oh, Jesus told me the other day that he's worked for you for 36 years or something." How many years is it?
34.
34 years. The woman behind the counter at Bandon Brewing told me that.
That's crazy.
He's a legend in Bandon. He's a legend in Chicago.
I'm telling you, he's famous.
And so, yeah, you've been here 34 years.
Yep.
So, therefore, you're kind of the go-to guy for me and for Brian when somebody contacts us and says, I am looking at this vintage Cardas cable. Does it seem legit to you? And if it goes back before my time here, which is like 16 years, you're the best guy to answer. And I send you a lot of texts, don't I?
Yes, a lot. Too many.
Even off work time, sometimes on the weekend. These customers need answers. They're looking for bargains on the secondhand
Yeah.
market. And we're trying to make sure they don't buy a fake. That's something that, there are fakes of our cables out there.
Absolutely, and we don't want that to happen.
We don't want people to buy them.
And we always recommend that people only buy from an authorized retailer, but, things come into people's possession through whatever means, and they want to verify with it they're renting it.
So what we're going to do is look at some cables that are mostly what we're going to look at is on eBay right now. And I will say that eBay has gotten better than they used to be. If I see something that looks fake, I can contact eBay and they generally will take it off.
Great.
So
that is also part of your job. You have a lot of weird parts of your job.
I know. So at the end of this, I might have some stuff to do.
Right.
All right. So Jesus, are you ready to take a look at some things? What are on eBay?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
Yes.
Item number 1.
Oh, can I guess first?
Okay. Let's have Angela guess first. First of all, let's see what it says it is.
Cardas type. So that's why I think.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right to me. But go ahead and read the whole headline.
Cardas type RCA ends. Beautiful handcrafted 4.5 feet. So I'm going to go with no, based on the fact that they said Cardas type.
You have anything to say, Jesus?
That's shit. There's no shrink on it whatsoever.
Ding, 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 ding.
So first of all, who knows what they mean Cardas type? There's no shrink. We don't know what the cable is. Do they say?
I can't even see it. Audio low.
It says Dayton audio.
Yeah.
Datton.
Datton audio.
Datton audio or something like that. Dayton. It is Dayton audio low noise mic cable. Okay. I mean, it's fine. Somebody's bought some bulk cable from Dayton audio and put some connectors on it.
Looks like they just kind of shoved them on there.
And they may, I don't know if they are Cardas connectors or not. They say Cardas type, and the whole price for this pair is $30. And I don't want to say that our stuff is expensive, but you can't get 4 Cardas RCAs for $30.
So we're going with no.
No.
All right.
So it's Cardas type. It does look
But those
like one of our
connectors are
RCAs.
close, man. I mean, they got that down right there.
There are type, and that they are perhaps a counterfeit of ours, or somebody bought them and decided to take a loss on them and put them on a pair of cables and sell the cables and the connectors for $30 when the connectors themselves would have cost a lot more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a no.
Okay. Oh, this is
Why?
every time. So I do regularly scan eBay to see what's out there as far as Cardas stuff. And this has been for sale for a long time.
It's 6 inches of cable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cardas clear reflection RCA XLR interconnect cable unterminated. So how is it an RCA or XLR?
Right, there's
if
nothing
it's
on-
unterminated.
But
Read.
Because it could be either. Read.
Read.
They must have more to say. They must have more to say. Hang on.
What are you going to do with
Oh, wow. There's a whole
Whoa.
paragraph. Oh, I hope there's anything bad about us.
Please read the following in full before making a purchase or asking about international shipping costs. Items will be well packed, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't say anything about
Oh,
the
this is
actual
all very
product.
generic.
It's all about shipping. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual
Okay, yeah, we're not going to read that then.
6 inches.
Here's what I think happened. Somebody sent in a reflection cable to be re-terminated. For some reason, they didn't want it to be 6 inches longer than it was, and did say, please return to me.
It doesn't even look like 6 inches of usable cable.
Oh, that's true. You wouldn't end up with a 6-inch pair.
For 6, no.
It could have been that it got damaged. It is not unheard of for somebody to send us a cable for repair that has been attacked by a puppy or a kitten, or a robot vacuum, or a maid with a vacuum who's careless with,
A robot. Oh, a Roomba.
you know, like a robot vacuum. They have them now. Jesus.
Do they?
They
Damn.
do.
$66.95.
So somebody could do something with that.
That's crazy.
And you can't make an offer either. And I would say this has been for sale for a long time. I know because I've seen it many times. And
If they're selling that for $67, that's crazy.
I wonder if that pencils out. I don't know. Remember these? Jesus, do you remember these?
No.
Cardas Clear audio capacitor.
Blue?
Yeah, we did blue ones and black ones.
One matched
Okay.
pair. R47 400 VDC for $52.
I definitely remember the black ones, but not the blue ones.
Yeah, we did mostly black ones. We did capacitors for a while, and most of them we had one kind, and the blue ones were the nicer ones, so they were all great.
Okay.
But it's such a nightmare to do any kind of component like that. You have to have inventory of every possible value. But they were great capacitors. But yeah, I'm sure these are real. I can't imagine somebody made a fake capacitor.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
I can't vouch for it.
Seems like a lot of work.
It would be a lot of work, unless you just had a blank blue capacitor. and somehow
$52.
52 for a, you get 2.
Hey,
You
you
too.
get 13 payments, or 4 payments at $13.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Can you imagine making payments on capacitors?
No way.
All right. Okay, I think we saw this guy
Yeah, we've
already.
seen that one.
All right, here we go. Remember Cross? Remember
Yep.
Cross was
Yep.
an interconnect near top of the line, I think, at one time.
Teal color.
And it went through many different colors, didn't it?
Yeah.
There was not just one color. You think this is legit?
I say yes.
Yeah, because of the shrink, they made the 3 rings on the RCA. See how the 3 rings there?
Yeah.
Yeah, see how it's all crappy looking?
That has to be your word.
That was probably Gary. Trying to shrink and glue.
On a Friday.
Yeah.
Don't look good.
And the 3rd ring, look how it's not even the same size as the tube above it. So that's definitely crap.
But real or
above.
not?
No. I don't know. Well, so look at the shrink, though. I mean, yeah, it could.
I think it's real.
Yeah, it could be. Custom tram terminated by the silent terminators.
Man, this thing is patinaed.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is old.
Yeah. I'm saying that's real.
I say it's real as well.
You know, it's one of those things that's hard to say, and I don't want to cost this person a sale, but I feel like you could buy a current Cardas product for the same amount of money.
Yes, 100%.
And moving on. Again, no offense to Nico Rent 6. It couldn't even be just Nico Rent. It would be Nico Rent -6.
$450.
There was 5 people had that name before them. All right.
Cards Audio Genuine GRSU Spade. $32 for 4.
First of all, that is not a GRSU. That is a GRS.
Nope. Yep.
It's probably legit. Kind of boring. All right, we got a single quad link.
That right there is
Why?
real.
Why
Yeah.
would you want one?
Well, why do they only have one?
Why do they only have one? What happened to the other one?
They lost hearing in one ear. They're looking
Look at
for
that
another.
shrink. I bet if we could roll that over, that would say custom hand terminated by Kip Dobler and the silent terminators.
Oh, there it is.
Here we
Right
go, here
there.
we go. So what is the story on
So-
that?
Kip Dobler, there it is. Wow. What a crap.
So that's old. So that's going back to the late 80s.
Yeah, that's either right before or down in California, Upland.
Yeah, that's California.
Kip Dobler was one of, if not the original Cardas Terminator.
Yep.
And moved up from LA to Bandon. And didn't he have something to do with getting you on board here?
Yes, Kip is the one that brought me up here from. I was working at a mill and a restaurant at night, and they would come in there and eat during the day. It was all organic stuff. It was called the Caesar Bistro back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And I started hanging out with them. And
What's there now?
that restaurant, the real spindy one. Aloro?
Aloro.
Alora.
Ooh, yeah.
Alora?
Aloro. It's not.
Aloro.
It's just fancy. It's too fancy for you.
It is. Wow.
We done
I go to
there.
the next door over, which is the brewery.
We
where
dine
I'm a
there.
celebrity.
We dine there eveningly.
Wow. You must be rich.
Eveningly.
Rich.
Standing reservations.
So yeah, he got me my job here, so. Good old Kip. He did something good.
Good old
He did
Kip.
something right.
something good.
He did something right.
It's also a very talented musician.
Yes, he is, and that's mostly what he's doing now is writing and recording music.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, so we're going with real on that one. Although, why would you only want
It's
one?
an odd thing to sell.
Again, for $120, you can get a pair of one-at-one.
Well, speaker, and this is interconnect.
Oh, yeah.
I like the fair red bead.
Yeah, he's got that big fat ferret
Yeah.
bead like we used to.
And the black one would be up closer.
Yeah, so that way you can put
So
them
they
next to each
stagger,
other.
yeah.
All right, here's something quite questionable. A pair, Cardas OCC copper audio XLR balanced cable high-end signal interconnect wire. Okay,
Go with no.
I'm going with, I don't know what the hell this is, for $64.30.
Wow.
Oh, it's on sale.
It was nearly $70. You can get this. Now, hang on. Betty, hang on. Betty. All right, we're almost done. All right, for $64.30, you got this cable that has a pair of connectors that the 4 connectors would cost us more than $64 to make. So you're not buying them from us for $64. And the cable, I don't know what you're selling. Jesus, I'm telling you this is fake.
Yes. You
Garbage.
It looks shiny. Yeah, no.
Yeah, nothing about that's right.
That's-
Nothing about that's right.
are. Nope.
Okay, a pair of quad links look legit.
Yes.
Quad links, yep.
And
got the
what's
great
interesting is we made quad link for so long that at one time it did look like this, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it also looked like that.
Yeah.
But we didn't sell it in 2 different colors
No,
like that.
no.
There's the other one. Weren't we worried about the other? We wondered where the other one went.
Of the pair that we looked
The
at a couple.
single.
Yeah, that
I
could be
think
it.
that's the other single.
Maybe we get these people together. Oh, it's the same seller. Hang on.
It is?
Hang on.
No way.
Interlink 2. Interlink 2.
Why wouldn't he pair up the one?
Interlink 2. Okay, you got how long is this? One piece. Quad-link.
That piece right there?
Yeah.
It doesn't even say how long it is.
say.
No.
And then over here
Almost like
you
a
got
How much longer?
That looked like a half meter.
Yeah.
And that looks like
that's,
1 meters.
there's some weird stuff going on right there.
Ooh, that's ugly.
All right, so we got crosslink. I think what somebody has done here is bought bulk crosslink.
Bulk, yeah.
And just terminated it the way they want to. That's fine.
That's fine.
I mean,
It's not cute.
we didn't make that. I mean, we made the cable, we sold it, somebody bought it, they did that.
Yeah.
Ugly. It looks like
Probably.
shit.
Yeah.
You can do that, but you can do that. That's not. I don't want somebody to buy this and then have a problem with it someday and then call us and say this cable broke and we're going to be like, oh, send it in, and then we receive it and we say, well, we didn't do any of this.
We wouldn't do that.
That's not our work. The likelihood of it happening though is slim. I'm not worried about it. Is it worth $159.97? I don't know. I don't know what that. I'm not going to look up the prices. It is what it is. 70 inches. We don't.
We don't measure things like
I'm not doing the math. All right, here's one. Angela.
Pangea Audio AC 9 Mark II power cable with Cardas copper, 3 meters. That is not a Cardas cable.
So, Jesus, what's going on?
Fake.
Well,
No.
maybe not. Pangea buys copper from Cardas.
I did not know that.
So,
Yes, that
this
is-
is something that happens.
It has a strand of our cable on the
It
inside.
has some of our stuff in there, so
Oh.
they can make that claim.
Thanks
Does
for
this
letting me
look
know.
like legit hex link to you?
Wow. I hope it is.
Jesus,
For
no.
$865.50, I hope it's real, but man, there's a lot of fake stuff that looks like this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, okay, that's
Look at that.
No.
No, man. That shrink's definitely
You
not.
need- You
No.
need to report that.
Yeah, okay, okay. You
But
know
see,
what?
but if you're going by price, someone would say, well, it's $865, it must be real.
That's the thing, is a lot of times the fakes have suspiciously low prices, and this is quite spendy, and look at that shrink.
No,
Never once.
that makes me sad.
Okay.
That
well,
makes me sad for someone who might buy
we will have to do a follow-up. I will report this evening, and then tomorrow maybe we can record whether it's still available.
Here you
Okay, wow. What, Jesus, you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
That is,
Now, here's the thing. For whatever reason, Hexlink, there's a lot of fake Hexlink out there.
go. Where?
This is another one. Jesus,
nope.
I don't need you for this.
No. Look at that. Wow. That's too pretty.
Another Hexlink.
Wow.
That's real.
Well,
The color looks way
these
better.
terminations. Okay, first of all, we didn't do those bananas.
I was going to say the color on that one looks way better, though.
And then see how the shrink's placed on there?
Yeah.
You know the straight line on the D? We
Yeah.
never take it past that. What's the other end look like? That one's closer, but yeah, that's definitely not ours. And like the font on that shrink looks all.
This is one where if somebody was to ask me, should I buy this, I would say I have
Look how long the
questions.
leads are too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I
We're
would
6
definitely say
inches.
I have questions.
That looks like 10 inches, and we only do that on buy wires.
It looks nicely done,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I just don't know.
Even the
And
print
some
on.
of these so much you can't tell, some of them are so good on the outside you can't tell until you cut into it, and then it's blatantly obvious, like it's just.
And the print on the cable, look at that. That's way too nice.
For being, how old would it be? 30 years old
Right.
or something?
Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't look so new.
Yeah. Ew.
All right, Mogami. That's they legit make product. Mogami Yellow Jacket cable, 6-foot pair, gold plated, Cardas solder.
They used our
Whoa.
Okay, real sound. I mean, look.
real sound.
It comes with real sound.
That's quite a claim.
Okay, boring. Another hex link. You think that's real?
That's
Yeah, look at that.
That looks legit.
Yeah, that's definitely legit.
That's real.
That's old.
And this one, okay, the last one on eBay. Cardas Belden 1.5 meter tone arm phono cable, 5-pin female DIN to Wire World RCA. So basically, what they have done is purchased a DIN from us.
That's all it is.
That's
ours.
Probably ours. They got some kind of cable. Belden cable.
Belden cable.
In Wire World. And then finally, Jesus.
Yep.
What do you do this?
Wow.
This is on AliExpress. We're off of eBay now. This is AliExpress.
Sketchy.
Totally.
You don't think that's legit?
No.
Why would you say that?
Well, because of the font of the letters, and look how big the R and the L is. It's almost as big as the shell.
But I would add.
We don't do that.
That in addition, we do not sell this product.
No. To
Nope.
anyone, for
Right.
any reason.
We've had people ask.
Yeah.
But you cannot get Cardas printed shrink tubing from Cardas Audio. So anybody who's selling it is selling
Scammy.
something scammy. It never looks quite right to our eyes. It probably looks right to some people's eyes. But whenever I see it on a product, and I feel like I've seen it on some recently, instantly I think, even if the cable itself is legit, the person who put that shrink on there went out of their way to buy a product that's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, bad for the consumer.
20, 50, 100 pieces.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, you can get. It's a good deal. It'll add to the value of your fake product.
All right. Thank you, Jesus.
You're welcome.